Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right. I've been going on deep meditation of late, trying to align myself since WESAC theme was aligning to the flow of abundant living and giving all the messages and the powerful energy shift created by the WESAC event, including the initiation for Melchizedek at the very end. And I'm still willing for that. I mean, the effects is just reverberating in my soul. I have been also connected in a very deep way for over 4 months now with Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, but not in the way as it relates only to money, but to, because any one of these spiritual deities has 1,008 aspects. She influences, she gives you abundant health, she gives you knowledge, she gives you happiness, joy, all kinds of things. And I'm in the WESAC, we understood that she is the cornucopia, or the horn of plenty, that abundance and gifts from all creative for the entire multiverse. And whatever that source, whatever that point is, it's represented in the Indian tradition by the goddess Lakshmi. And she is in the old medieval time, they used to call her Fortuna. In fact, they are a musical thing. There's that old Kamina Burana or Fortuna that's created celebrating her, right? A beautiful piece of music, right? But she is Fortuna, because the Roman used to worship her as a goddess, and she is the Western version of Lakshmi, right? Because it's like the goddess of good luck, the goddess of miraculous things happening to you, unusual, benevolent, and wonderful things happening in your life. So she is, and the reason I'm saying this is that she appeared to me in a meditation while I was doing that. This is like going back 4 months ago, where I went into the white space and suddenly I was listening with my entire being, with every cell in my body. And it's such a profound state of surrender and listening. I heard a pitch. And I'm listening to the pitch, and all of a sudden, I realized that I could feel a thigh against my thigh on the left side. I could feel somebody leaning on me. And then I heard a voice. Somebody was trying to whisper, very soft, whispering something in my ear. And I kept on tilting my, and as I turned this way to look, I saw her. Okay, with the bindi and the nose ring, I saw her. And the jet black hair pulled back. She didn't have a big crown or anything like that. It was just a sari. But she was right next to me. And at that moment, my phone went off. And as I'm getting accustomed to, I'm trying to pay attention to what she's trying to say. My phone goes off. And as my phone goes off, I then realize it's a friend of mine who was scheduled, who was in the hospital with a heart problem in Miami. And I'm like, I got to take this. And then I snapped out of it. Okay. And I'm sorry I did this. I should have forwarded all my calls to the voicemail. I made a big mistake. Because it would be nice to have, but it was just like a small whisper or something. And I'm adjusting my ear to try to really listen. It's this ear. I'm trying to listen. I'm like, what is she saying? So I've had multiple other experiences after that where I felt that she was around me. I've had dreams where I saw her. Again, she was in a different room, and I'm getting close to me, but not actually talking to me directly. And this has been going on for months now. And my particular experience for the past week is that she has finally reached me, or I actually, it's not her because she was always there. I am finally hearing her. And I'm going to share some of that information with you. And it relates to exchange and giving and receiving in general, but more specifically for us human beings and the planet. Financial matters and money, because that's what we have made exchange to be, as having the greatest value. And it's very profound what actually happened, because we know what's been happening now with the banking system. 3 banks already failed and had to be bailed out. And judging from all of the reports, all these mid-sized banks are in the process of also, they're about to fail because they don't have the liquidity. And the way the market is now, it takes only a few big depositors to remove their funds, to ask the bank for their funds from these mid-sized banks for them to fail, because they don't have that kind of liquidity. As you know, banks are, because of the fractional reserve, or permitted, if you deposit $1 million in the bank will only keep $100,000 and lend your entire 900,000 out to other people. Take your money and lend it. It doesn't sit on a shelf in the bank. They're making more loan, more deal out of it. They're investing it somewhere else while giving you maybe 1%. Okay? So having said this, and by the way, any investment that you invest in on Wall Street or any other way, typically speaking, the return, if you can get a 10% return, it's a big deal. It's the most favorable that you're going to get. So I don't want the class to be about financial stuff, but it plays a big role. The connection was that I could feel her around me. And it's not that I saw her, but rather, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. There's a mantra that I played, which is the Adi Shakti mantra we played at Wesak. Okay? It's 100, it's Shakti, the goddess, the mother, the divine feminine energy. It's 108 lines. Each line is a different aspect of the divine feminine. And and the last line invokes the goddess Lakshmi. Right? The last line before she ends, it invokes the goddess Lakshmi. So at the very end, and I've been listening to this now for 5 months, every day this mantra, it's 10 minutes long. I've been listening to it for 5 months, and as I listened to it, that day, something opened up. It finished, I shut it off, and I went into, because as I'm listening to it, I could feel my whole body shaking. Something opened up, and I could feel Lakshmi around me. And it was a wave, like a frequency, like a sound or a vibration, or like I felt something moving through me, like a wave passing through me. Or the analogy would be you're watching, you're on a seashore and you watch a wave wash onto this, I can't find the word in English. Plage, on the shore.
Okay.
On the shore. and you wash it, but a wave like this. I could feel something. And the moment it hit me, it was all at once, something got inserted inside of me. And I've been unpacking it ever since then. This happened, I think, on Monday. On Wednesday of last week. And I've been unpacking it every day. Because there is so much details in there. There's so many details. So what I discovered is that Lakshmi, or that cornucopia, whatever you want to call it, that the aspect of the divine feminine, that's the gifting aspect of the goddess, is been trying to purge the planet of the toxic relationship we have with giving and receiving. Meaning that we exist so much in lack that our ability to give and to receive does not come from Lakshmi, but it comes from an intellectual domestication that is telling us that there is not enough and that we have to suffer to get, or we have to exert a tremendous amount of energy and power. The best way I can describe this is that every gift that exists, if you think of all the money that exists in the world, if you think of all the diamond, all the gold, all the precious jewel, all the mineral, oil, electrical resources, every gift that exists in the entire planet comes from one source. One source. So that, and I've had issue with this. And I'm going to tell you about I will give you a personal example to kind of illustrate the point. And in other words, what she's making me understand, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, all the billions and the billions that all of them collectively own does not belong to them. They are temporary custodian of the flow. And that flow comes from Lakshmi. She created it and she can take it away. It doesn't belong to them. All the people in the world that have wealth, that have money, that are living opulently, the royal families and the Saudi princes, all of them, none of that opulence is theirs. It belongs all to Lakshmi. More to the point for me, and this is the difficulty I've had for years. I know as a healer, and I'm not blowing smoke, I'm not trying to, it's not an ego trip. I know the level of healing that I'm doing. And I know how much you're all benefiting from it and what a beyond world-class thing that I'm doing. But I have a problem putting a correct dollar amount that will allow me to have a comfortable living while doing this. Because I'm always worried that I'm charging too much. My client can't afford it. I'm charging too much. And what I understood with that wave that hit me, when I'm doing this, I am projecting my untoxic lack filter into a gift that Lakshmi is trying to give me. So whether if I charge $10 for a service, as an example, when in fact it's worth $100, what I'm not understanding is that I am blocking what Lakshmi think I deserve. Because the client that's paying the $10 or $100 is not the resources that they're using. It's not their resources. It is coming from Lakshmi directly. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? In other words, it's not, the money is not really theirs. If I can put in my awareness and understand that the money is coming from Lakshmi, from the goddess of abundance and flow, that's gifting it to me, then I will have a less toxic relationship with getting what I really deserve, and thinking I'm undeserving and undercharging myself. And I've said this before. I've looked at other healers' website who can do half of what I can, and they are charging double and sometimes even triple the amount that I'm charging. So it's a huge thing for me to understand that, to get the awareness. Oh my God. And I'm gonna go even further. This is me unpacking this over several days. The best way to describe the wave and how it got connected to me, it's like putting an essential oil, a drop that's so concentrated into some other medium, and then it expands. Very powerful and very potent. So I've been allowing it to expand on a daily basis. And one of the things I also realize is that when I am trying to, because it's not just about receiving, it's about me also giving to the world, because it's giving and receiving. She controls both. And the more filter, the more lens of toxicity, of restrictions, of lack that we have on both, the more we are not tapping on a full potential. The people, I met one or two people that were like this. Everything that they do, like I remember I met this guy and we were talking about money, and I'm like, well, but that's so expensive. He said, money is easy, it's not a problem. And it's true, everything that he touched, it was like this. And I'm not talking about small monies. That's $500,000 for the, and he's not a millionaire. He just stepped into thing, and the next thing you know, the money is in his lap. He was a little bit odd as a person, because he knew something that we didn't know. I mean, if you meet him one-on-one, he's great, but if you meet him in a social setting, he seemed a little bit odd. Not at ease with everybody, like he knows something else. And because he knows the money does not, if he goes to a client or a potential client and says, this is blah, 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 and so on and so forth, the money is not coming from them. They're coming from that infinite, because the resources that Lakshmi have, the horn of abundance, is endless. The client is the vehicle through which this abundance that you know you deserve will come to you. It's a different way of thinking. Instead of saying this, I don't think they can afford it. This, I'm asking for too much. Now the reverse is true as well, which is to think when you're trying to, let's say, for example, buying something or asking for something, to try to negotiate the cheapest deal possible. What you're saying is that Lakshmi cannot misuse me as a vehicle to give abundance to this person that I'm trying to buy from. And in that expanded perception, all of us were disconnected to Lakshmi. Her true power and her true potency. We're all disconnected to her. To a degree or another, we are either not charging enough for our services for our ability and for what we are capable of doing, or we're doing the reverse. We're negotiating and trying to find a cheap deal. We're haggling, we're bothering, we're doing all kinds of things to see if we can go around and get the cheaper deal possible. Not understanding that Lakshmi doesn't have a problem dropping, allowing us to drop an endless amount of money on something because they're trying to give somebody, Lakshmi is trying to give someone else that deal. I've witnessed clients, I've witnessed friends and family members make that mistake. And then when their thing is blocked up, when the services that they're seeking somehow gets blocked up because they were cheapening out, particularly in construction, with my clients when I was an architect. Cheap is expensive. You go to the lowest bidder, not the best contractor. You go to the lowest bidder, you're going to have so many problems, it's going to cost you almost double the price of the bid. Because there will be all these extras. In New York City, I worked for New York City for a short stint for about 6 years when I was much younger. It's always the lowest bidder that wins. And then there are all these extras, all of these legal battles, plus delay. If you're taking a loan to create something, because of all this legal stuff, there's another delay of a year or two. Your construction costs now, all of a sudden, because of now, you have to carry the loan for much longer, your construction cost just escalated. My experience, particularly in the field of construction, cheap is actually very expensive. It's a different way of relating to where we are and what's happening. I hope I didn't lose anybody so far. Are you all with me? Yes, no?
Well, I did have one thought I wanted to ask you. I didn't want to interrupt your flow. If this is a good time to ask the question.
Sure.
When you say that a client has, it's not their money that they're paying you or anybody, it's Lakshmi's money. But what if they don't have that? What if they don't have that flow established in their life and they truly are cut off from that flow from Lakshmi? Does that mean that we should be mindful of where they are in their development of that?
Lakshmi is charitable to everyone, okay? To the degree that they can give. And I'm always making special arrangements with all kinds of people, okay?
Right. So, but if somebody is unable to pay for any service, is that because they're not attuned carefully to Lakshmi?
Yes. 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 They are to a degree or to another, they exist in lack, and they're disconnected at the moment. It's all temporary thing, and I'm going to explain it a little bit more. Lakshmi has been behind the scene, purging this. This is why right now we're facing this banking crisis. Lakshmi is trying to purge that toxicity out by creating now, by karma, several planetary events to cause us to begin to re-examine our connection to prosperity and to lack. She's behind the scene, and this is the part of the stuff that hit me, that was like so shocking to me. Again, it's not in the Roman time, they called her fortuna. It's that same idea. Because if you're not Indian, from Indian background, or you're Hindu, that might be a disconnection for you. But that same consciousness existed in several ways in other belief systems. And I remember Georgie, I was talking to him, and my exploration really began. I was having a conversation with him and two other healers, and we were all talking about client, and we were talking honestly amongst ourselves about promoting and getting better clients, and how hard times have become with the finances of the world, how things are squeezed, and blah, blah, blah. And then he didn't say anything, and all of a sudden he looked at me and said, I got to say something. I said, you're all disconnected to Lakshmi. That's the problem. He said, you're disconnected to abundance. This is the problem. It doesn't matter what's happening outside. If you're connected to Lakshmi, nothing is going to touch you. Nothing. He said, I don't have that problem because I was initiated. I was trained as a Buddhist monk and that, and I was initiated, and I'm connected to that energy. And he said, when my client, and this part stuck with me, he said, when I have a feng shui client that comes in that says, I need to buy a new house, blah, 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 and they're giving me choices, I go with them to help them select which new mansion that they need to buy. Whether the mansion is 5 million or 12 million or 40 million, he said, it's not their money that they're spending. It's Lakshmi's money, and therefore it's my money. I'm not disconnected to it. That abundance is in me too. This is huge for me. This was huge for me. Because it blew up my head. Because I was always in architecture. I've designed luxury mansions. I've done all kinds of things. But I never saw that the money was mine. I never imagined, understood, because we are domesticated to think we're disconnected to it. I'm working for a fee. I'm working for a percentage. I'm working for, it's the 10% that the architect is going to get of the construction cost. So that's what I'm working for. He said, no, all of it. And he said, therefore, I stand and I provide the service as if it was my money. And therefore, Lakshmi is flowing through me to give them the best deal possible. And guess what? The client, because of this, will return, no matter what the condition is. He said to all of us, I have wealthy clients. I don't have the problem that you're having, or client not paying. I have wealthy clients. I don't have that problem. That was shocking to me. Shocking. And revelatory at the same time, that of what I'm not doing. He said, I'm not seeing any of my clients as being poor. I'm seeing them as being abundant. Therefore, I'm going to select the best possible property. And he said the opposite is true. Sometimes they come to me and they're asking me, help me sell a house. I can't unload this. I'm trying to sell this property. I cannot. And he said, I step in and I find out what the blockage or the lack in them as their connection to the house. And I help them remove it so that they can sell it. Because it's still my money. Because I'm not disconnected to that flow. I'm not disconnected to that abundance. So it's not just about services. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. But to a degree or to another, we are not connected to this. Because all of us have been domesticated for this lack and this restriction. What's the cheapest deal? You go to a store, you see an item, and you're like, you see, what good quality, etc. You're like, I'm not buying this. I can't afford it. I can give you so many examples. I remember years ago when I was in graduate school with friends of mine that were from South America, that were from a very wealthy family. There was a men's store on 72nd Street, and I think it was Amsterdam, called Charivari, this Italian store that had all these incredible clothing. And Janice, you're smiling because you know the store. You remember it, right? And it was right at a beautiful store, gorgeous clothing, but very expensive. So they all went in and they were buying this and trying this clothes, and they had money of the wazoo. And I'm the, as far as in my mind is concerned, I'm the poor kid from the Caribbean with the grant at Columbia, and I don't have any money. I'm on a work study program. And they're trying this suit and that suit. That one is $3,000. That one is $5,000. Blah blah blah, and all this. And I never forget this. There was a man that was there that was trying this Claude Montana suit, and he was standing there. His wife was with him, and they are trying to. Oh, we can alter this. We can change this. We can. They're doing the fitting for him. We can do this. We can blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. And that same suit, I looked at the fabric in a different color, and it was beautiful. It was this light gray, and there was these thin purple stripes that were moving through it. And the fabric was beautiful. And I remember grabbing it, and I looked at it. I said, "This is so stunning." And one of the sales men that was there said, "You want to try it?" I looked around. I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." I went into the changing room. I tried it. I stepped out. The whole store stopped to look at me. It was a perfect fit. I look stunning, absolutely stunning. My friend, one of my friends that I was with, he said, "Oh my God." And he slapped my face. "My God, you look extraordinary. You look like you should be on a runway somewhere." And I'll never forget, the sales guy said, and there was no alteration, no fit. Everything is perfect, like it was designed for me. And the sales guy said to me, "Shall I pack it for you?" And I remember saying, "Oh, I'm going to think about it." In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, where am I going to get $3,500 to pay for a suit when, I'm worried about paying my rent? And I went into the changing room. I took it, put it back in the, on the hanger, and brought it back and gave it to him. And this is one example in my life where I was disconnected to the flow, because in any other instance, if I had the flow, I would have said pack it, because it was in fact, I remember the couple, the wife went like this, because the husband was staying in a similar suit. They had to alter, they couldn't, there were all these things that needed to be done to make it fitting. And that memory came back to me. How disconnected was I to my own flow, when in fact, in an ideal world, that was a gift of perfect fit for me. It was made for me. I should have walked out with it somehow. I don't know how, but I should have walked out with it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
But if you did step out and say, "Okay, I will buy it," without having connection to the flow, but just because it was so perfect, went ahead, that wouldn't have been a good course of action for you, would it?
No, because I would struggle with the payment.
That's
The way I
right.
would buy it would be on credit card. I did have credit card at the time, but I was so worried about the school debt because I had half a scholarship. The other thing was on student loan. I had I was so worried about the debt. I was not going to put myself in more debt.
So the lesson is not to go out and buy the most expensive and beautiful thing that happens to cross your path, but first get into alignment and then feel the opportunity that flows.
Yes, and I actually did not go out because I know a lot of people in the world right now, particularly in this day and age of mass media. You see them posting the most ridiculously beautiful thing. They're always traveling. They're all over the world. They're this, they're that. My sister and I were talking about somebody that we know that's like this. You know, always throwing this huge lavish party, this incredible stuff. And I remember saying to myself, like this person went to the World Cup recently and was, trip. It doesn't matter. It just, I'm thinking to myself, where is she getting the money? Right? How is she doing this? Well, come to find out from another family member complaining that not directly, but indirectly. You see all these people who are posted doing all of these things and so on and so forth. When they can't pay their rent, they're coming to me asking me to pay it for them. There is that. There's a lot of people that are on mass media, on paper, the background, they're in Bali this week, they're in Brazil the next week, they're doing all of this stuff to show you how well that they're living and how opulent that they are. But it's a fake opulence. It's literally it's a mirage. It's not real abundance. It's not coming from a real place. You're right about this because so many people are doing this everywhere. And you have to ask yourself, at some point, I like to travel, but I don't want to travel all the time because after traveling because a lot of, when I was younger, I used to take like a month off and go travel. After 3 weeks, I want my bed. I want my apartment. I'm tired of sleeping in a hotel. I'm tired of, I'm done. I'm done. I need to return back home. I need to be grounded and do the familiar. I need to see my family. I don't want to travel anymore. So what I'm saying is that we have to be very careful. It's a thin line that we have to negotiate, both in our ability to exchange, meaning by that, when I'm receiving from the world, am I receiving from lack by creating filters of restriction and constrictions? Or am I receiving from Lakshmi by actually saying out loud and asking the universe for really what I deserve? And let the universe figure out a way to give it to me. Because the thing that we do is that we try to control. And most of the time it's unsuccessful. And the same when Lakshmi wants to use me, because if I was connected to Lakshmi, I was truly connected in a line. And again, I didn't go to Charivari to buy clothes. I can't afford anything in there. I was hanging out with my friends. Oh, let's go. We're going to go to Charivari and blah, blah, blah. And all of them were rich. They're all South American, really, really wealthy. And they were in school with me. I was like, okay, let's go. And I just walked in with them. I used to love that store because they had great stuff. I mean, as clothing and all of that, and the way it was set up, it was a beautiful place. So if I was coming with the right alignment, because you see what I'm trying to explain to you is this. The perfect fit of that clothes is Lakshmi telling me, this is yours. But the misalignment is the lack that I had walking in, that I could not receive it, or I couldn't find a way to accept the gift. Do you see what I'm saying? In other words, Lakshmi was always there in the background, trying to whisper the way she was whispering to me during that meditation. And I couldn't hear her. I couldn't figure it. It took me, this connection was 3 months ago of her sitting next to me. I am in my dream, she's the room next door. I can't hear it. I can't.
Yeah, wouldn't have been a better idea for Lakshmi to giving you the $3,000 first, and then you find the suit that she was gifting.
If I had $3,000, I would have never bought the suit. I would have paid a whole bunch of other things. I would have done other things with it.
Yeah, okay.
Do you understand? I would have spent it on other things. I would have never bought the suit.
Right. Can I ask you a really, really basic question? Step one, why does Source, God, that white space of infinite possibilities, have Lakshmi as the the holder of the purse strings and the access to the abundance? Why not directly go to God?
Because she's an aspect of God.
She's an aspect.
She is the aspect of God that gives.
Oh my gosh. Now I understand, because I was wondering, why doesn't God do that? Why does he have somebody
else? The aspect of God that does this, but it's the feminine aspect, the nurturing, the giving aspect.
Now it makes sense.
It's the mother's milk.
Okay. Everything, God is everything.
Yes. Yeah, she's actually an aspect, the aspect of the divine that's the source of all gift.
I have to wrap my head around all that vastness.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to fry your noodle, but I will. As far as the world is concerned and what's going to happen planetarily, predictions and everything else that's going to happen, the financial system in the world will be rearranged by karma. And when it's by karma, it's painful. And in the process of this rearrangement, people, very wealthy people, will experience lack because they are not existing in abundance, because they are hoarding. Or I've known very wealthy people, I told you that story, I'm going to repeat it, of my colleague from Columbia University who was, when we were in diner together, who was bringing the tea bag back with him in aluminum foil. This is somebody from the Mayflower. I found out a year later, he had an apartment, penthouse apartment that this family owned, private elevator. I've never seen an opulence like this. The whole floor of the building, wraparound terrace, 18 room. I had never seen opulence like this in my entire life up to that point. So you could be very wealthy and be miserly and exist in poverty consciousness. Counting pennies and benching everything and all that, you're not connected to Lakshmi and abundance. You're hoarding. And when that recalibration happens, you're going to get hurt. Because Lakshmi is trying to remove the toxic. She wants us to exist in the flow, the divine flow of alignment, of giving and receiving. We are deserving of this. Everyone on the planet should be completely comfortable, healthy, wealthy, abundant. There should be no lack. The lack is our own, it's created by our own projections. There will definitely be a recalibration. And it's starting already. I don't have to tell you, you have eyes, you can see what's happening in the world, particularly in America, and even in Europe. Look at what happened with Credit Suisse. And when it happens here, it will trigger, it will be like a domino effect. Everyone is already warning those politicians, stop playing with the debt limit, because if this happens, it will shockwave around the planet. Everything will be upside down. But the people or the leaderships, some of them, not all of them, are anarchists. They just want to break things down. They don't care about a solution. Or if it doesn't happen by this debt ceiling thing, and I told you before that Jupiter on the 27th will expand whatever is there. And again, the deadline for the debt limit, again, when Jupiter enters into an astrological position, the influence is for several months, right? So the debt ceiling limit deadline is June 1st. '27 is this weekend coming, next weekend coming, the weekend of Memorial Day. Unfortunately, we have to be prepared, because that kind of, if something like this were to happen, I'm not saying the whole thing, all the dominoes will fall all at once. I think it will be a series of events. Okay? It will trigger one cascading thing after another, and it will cause many people who have a lot to suffer a lot. Because if whatever you have in the bank, by the end of the year, or the beginning of next year, or the middle of next year, is worth half, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
People who don't have a lot of money can still have poverty consciousness. So in the move that Lakshmi is making to purge the planet of this, will they not be hurt as well?
Perfect question, and I'm going to answer it by saying to you, I have been suffering for the past 6 months with all kinds of problems. And all of them, Lakshmi, in that contact told me, I'm trying to cleanse you. This is why you're going through this. I'm trying to purify you. So think about all of the financial challenges that you've had for the past year. She's behind the scene trying to cleanse you and make you learn some deep, deep lesson about holding your consciousness. And it's such an abstract thing, but that abstract thing is the key to having immunity against what's going to happen right now. All the things that have turbulence, and the turbulence is not over, it's still going on. There are days I am better about it. You know, if I was not the person that I am, I would have to go to a doctor to get some pills to chillax me, to really chillax me. Now, I want to add to this. I don't want to gang against people who have a lot of money. I don't want to say, because a lot of them are good people and they are philanthropists. And philanthropy is part of one of the things that Lakshmi does, because it's a way for you to give back from the abundance and the flow that you get. And when you do it from the real place, it actually helps spread the abundance that you're receiving. But it's how you give, how you do the philanthropy. If you're doing it as a way to demonstrate to the world that you're a giving person, and it's a show off, it's not real philanthropy. True philanthropists and true philanthropy often happen by you giving either anonymously or quietly without anybody knowing that you're giving. You're not doing it for approval of the world so that everyone can see you, so that you can walk around and everybody, TV, camera can go around and see. And I'm going to give you an example. Again, on mass media, there are lots of people who are setting poor people up with cameras in tow, where, for example, they take a whole bunch of money and they would drop their wallet or drop a whole bunch of money while walking down the street in front of a poor guy to see what they would do. Some people will keep it and they have a camera that follows them, or some people would be open enough to say, oh, this is your money, blah, 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 and so on, and run after them and give them their money back. And because of this, they double the money back to the person. And then when the person takes the money, and I've seen people do this, and they follow them with the camera from a distance to see what they're going to do with the money, or they're going to buy drugs, and then you see what I'm saying? They're setting them up so that they can appear as a giving, benevolent person, because that's the brand that they're trying to create on the internet. That's not philanthropy. That's manipulation. Back home, I remember being with my mom, and at a certain time of the year, we would go serve in a soup kitchen, or my mother would do what they call charité, which is we would cook food and we would go give it to the homeless. We didn't do it so that there would be a camera behind us and we can post it online and say all of the nice thing we have to give to the world, to the poor, to the this, that, so that everyone can see that we are virtuous. That's the Pharisees from the Bible. So one has to be very careful about that. I want to also add to the fact that if we're going to expand on this, whenever this is going to happen, I'm not talking about if, it's going to happen. It's going to happen between the next 2 years. It's going to happen. 2020, between now and 2025, everything will be recalibrated. And as it's going to happen, one of the things, and this is the advantage for somebody who's already that's already struggling. We have an old proverb back home that says, I'm sitting on a low chair, so if I fall down, It's 1 foot from the ground. If I fall down, I'm going to slip. But you're sitting in a high chair. If you fall down from this 20-story chair, you're going to break a few bones. So the people who are already economically disadvantaged, if they don't have, they will figure out a way to still exist because they are used to the dance that you have to do to survive. Lakshmi doesn't want to hear about survival because that she's not about survival. Because everything, there's abundance, there's flow, there's no reason for survival. But sometime in order for us to find the cure, we have to get sick first. We have to pass through the difficulty. This is what I'm saying is that we're going to go to a period where we're going to learn by karma. Now, I don't mean to say to you that I don't want this to be a class where it's all about disaster, because that's not the intention. The intention is to get you prepared so that you can, because if you're holding your consciousness in the things that I was talking about, understanding your worth and asking out loud to the universe. And I love what Georgie said when he was doing the Lakshmi part presentation on Wisa, when he says, you have to ask her like you're asking your mother for something. Like you're talking to your actual mother. And he said, no whining day in and day out of the same thing. You ask her once and you said, and you ask her for what you really deserve. Not coming from lack and filters of restriction. You ask her openly for what you really deserve. And depending on your karma, she will gift it to you. She will find a way to bring that abundance, that flow, she will connect it to you.
Is there another step that has to be added to the asking? And it's being able to believe that you deserve it, maybe, or maybe it is better described as believing that you will receive it.
Well, there is certainty at the very end, but before we get to the certainty, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's not just the asking, it's the consciousness that I was describing before, that abstract thing, to know that lack is a complete illusion. Whether it's lack in what you deserve, whether it's lack because when Lakshmi is using me to give to the world or ask for what I, for service or pay for something, if I'm always coming from restriction and trying to pinch this and pinch that, that also will block Lakshmi. In other words, Lakshmi is going to favor somebody that's so open that they will not only ask for what they deserve, but they will have no problem spending $3,500 on a suit, or going to Louis Vuitton and buy a pump or MS bag that costs, $900. Not because you're trying to be opulent, but because at the moment it resonated with you. Because when you see her in images and vision, she is dressed. She has the most expensive stuff on her. And that's a physical representation of the richness and the horn of plenty that she is. There are days now, and again, what I'm asking you to do is it will be a process, because there are days now, even though I had this connection, where I am in it, I have it, and I can feel walking around that Lakshmi is actually in me, not outside of me anymore, but in me. I had that experience of, I think it was Friday, where I felt her inside of me. I'm walking around, my God, she's in me. But the next day, not so much. Because again, the old habits are coming in, the doubt and the fear, I don't have, I'm like, no, that's not true. It's so, because I have been domesticated for my whole life to believe the exact opposite. Because when you're in that consciousness, you don't even have to articulate it, because you exist in such knowing that you deserve instantaneously this, that, or the other. And I'm going to go even further. Lakshmi holds the key to immortal living, to immortality. Because the immortals exist in that state where they're so connected to her, they're allowing flow of everything to come from her. And they're also a perfect vehicle for altruistically giving it to the world without any restriction, because they know they're tapping into endlessness. They don't have a problem giving because it's not coming from them. If we can remain in the next 2 years, 50% of the time in that flow, nothing is going to happen to us. We will see suffering all around us. We will be helping people out, but nothing is going to happen to us. Questions or comments? I want to add as a last piece to this, that I had guided some of you several months ago, since I've been involved with this almost like for 7 months now, to join the Pi network, which is a cryptocurrency. And at the time, it costs zero money upfront. And it's a matter of downloading an app and clicking on a button once a day. There's more to it than that. And it's not really a crypto in a sense of the cryptos that we know right now, although it's using the same methodology, but the creators are trying to rebalance and redistribute wealth around the world by allowing people. One of the things they realize, let's say, for example, Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now, if you want to buy one Bitcoin, you have about $27,300 as of today. You and I, again, because of the astronomical asking price for it, it is what the value of it is now, cannot afford it. What they did is that they created something which was almost like where they're trying to create an ecosystem 4 years ago. They're both PhDs from Stanford, and they brought they created this cryptocurrency, asking their student initially to participate in this by clicking once a day and mining this crypto. I'm not going to do a whole class on this because it's a whole class to try to explain this, but by mining once a day, and therefore that information right now, because of what they are trying to do, as of today, they are the most used cryptocurrency in the market in the world today. Meaning by that they have almost 36 million people on a daily basis that are clicking. Bitcoin cannot claim this. None of the other currencies can claim this. They may have more value on the coins, but they cannot claim this. But we knew, and I knew this, because when it was offered to me to join in, I realized that by looking at what they were offering, that this is the way Lakshmi is going to bring prosperity to a whole bunch of people and redistribute wealth into the world. And so I asked a few of you to join. Some of you did, some of you didn't. It depends on your karma, and I'm not going to force you. You don't want to join, fine. That's fine with me. I'm not going to force you. But I am convinced, because right now, the starting price for most cryptocurrency is typically around $1 or $1.50, no more than $2. Some of them start off 90 cents, 80 cents initially. Latest information for Forbes is that that particular currency, a cryptocurrency we're talking about that some of us are involved in, will launch on June 28th. Is that right? Or is it May 28th or June 28th? It's May 28th, right?
I was thinking so.
Yeah, May 28th, May 28th. Yes, yes. Or is it June?
I'm looking up your text.
Okay. I thought I read June.
Oh, here it is. Okay. It is June 28th.
June 28th.
Yes.
So it's the time, and on May 27th, there is the expansion from Jupiter, which will last several months. And it's going to launch around the same time that whatever turbulence is going to happen. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think it's the path for me and for my small community to have immunity. And it's launching now, instead of $1, it's $28.40. And for those of us who've been mining, because mining means every day you earn a pie, every day you click, you can earn a pie. And there's a way to boost your pie, your mining and everything else, so that you can earn up to 6 pi per day, between 4 to 6 pi per day, particularly if you have people under you. You could earn a lot of, very quickly, you could rack up a whole bunch of stuff. So giving all of that once, because if it's the bottom, but Bitcoin started at a few dollars per coin. This is 15 years ago when it started. Look at where it is now. And as I said, when Bitcoin was around $10, somebody had offered it to me, but it was so weird that no one had ever done this. I'm like, this is a scam. I'm not getting involved. If I had spent only $1,000 at $10, it was around $10, 9 something. Right now, I've been a billionaire, because at $10 times 27,000 right now per coin, that's a worth of $2.7 million. I thought that the launching of this pie would have happened in 2025. So I feel very blessed and very.
What does it mean to launch?
Okay, it means that right now there is no value to pie. Because of all the things that you're doing right now in the checklist, once enough of us have done the checklist, they're gonna go to, instead of us being in mainnet, the next phase is that you're gonna be in opennet. And after that, they will start listing it in some exchange. There are these companies like Binance and Coinbase, they will start listing on exchange. When that happens, the value will even go even higher. It will go way higher. Because now in OpenNet, they're giving a dollar value to it, a minimum dollar value. And the reason it's so high, it's because they have created an entire ecosystem. They have proven for 4 years now to the entire world that we have users that are using this on a daily basis. And it's almost 36 million of them. Any other questions or comments? Okay. And I know that a lot of you that joined and did this, you did this because you trusted me. It's not because you understood what you were doing, but you trusted me. And I'm truly I'm very touched by your trust in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre, for introducing this opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Again, it's out of the box kind of thing. It's because, again, it's a way of exchange that's out of the box. The same way we're doing it, because the banking system is based on debt, and debt creates free money. Very quickly, if you borrow $100,000 from the bank keeps only $10,000, 90,000 is being lent. When you go to take a mortgage, again, $100,000 mortgage, the bank puts in real money, $10,000. The rest, they create out of thin air. It doesn't exist. But because they are banks, they are permitted to do this by law. And you now have to spend the next 30 years paying interest, principal, et cetera, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs to pay all of this. And what they are doing is that they are creating slavery, energetic slavery. They are bonding you, they're coding you. And this is what Lakshmi is trying to undo for the entire world. And we've been doing it for so long, and we've been so domesticated into believing that this is true, that we don't see anything else outside of it. Anybody that's proposing a reform, like there were these groups, this consortium of countries, India, South Africa, Brazil, Russia, China, that have created this consortium they call BRIC. That's going to be like lending. It's a World Bank, similar to the World Bank and the IMF, that's going to be lending money to other countries at better for favorable rate, because these gigantic institutions, they've bankrupt countries, including my own country. The rates and everything else, the condition, or they're so catastrophic, you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. And then they refinance it and make it more impossible for you to repay. And so because of this, they are gonna, and what they did is that they're creating better favorable term, blah, 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 for people who have choices, blah, blah, blah. But it's the same enslavement and debt system. They just, the same box, that we package it into something else. It needs to be something else altogether. It's not about creating a better mousetrap, is to realize that there are no mice. Like Neo said in the Matrix, that little kid with the spoon, that was mending spoon, he said, look at Neo, one of the potential, and said to Neo, don't try, and Neo was trying to figure out how to do it. He said, don't try to bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, realize that there is no spoon. There is no lack. It's an illusion. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much, Pierre, for everything. So grateful for your guidance, everything. You have really sharpened me through a lot of stuff. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, Bobby, welcome back. I'm seeing you. You know, there's a scene on the Avatar when the way the creature in that planet recognize each other, they look at each other in the eye and they say, I see you. Well, I'm seeing you back to where you were before. I'm seeing you.
Yes, and I'm so blessed. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Why don't we take a 5-minute break, and then after that, we'll do a closing meditation. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your entire consciousness and awareness emanate from the middle of your chest. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And notice what you noticed. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. Listen. Listen as if the more than 50 trillion cells that exist in your body had ears. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And become aware of any sensations, perceptions, insights, and knowing. That your body is trying to share with you. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. Listen. Listen to the discomforts, the unease, and let whatever knowing, information, and breakthrough that exists unpack for you. What aspect of fears or lack is blocking a true connection to Lakshmi, to flow and to abundant living? Give me the insight, the breakthrough. For my liberation and true connection to endless flow and perpetual renewal. We call forth Goddess Lakshmi, and we ask for a complete restoration of our ability to give and receive, understanding that all abundance, flow, and gifts that exist in all dimensions of reality and in all worlds, including the 3D one, belong to you. Gift us the abundance and the flow needed we ask specifically for this gift. Insert your gift now and your request to Lakshmi. Let it be presented to you as an offering of a lotus flower, of a pink lotus flower. What I am asking for is already manifested. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you. That was really deep.
Yeah, because the change that we need to make is so profound and it's so rooted in the core of our cellular structure, because we've been domesticated for since the time of the ancestors to believe incorrectly. Any other comments or questions before we close? I want to thank you all for your co-creation and participation in this class today. I love you so much. If you're listening to us on Patreon, thank you so much for your support. For you on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to talking to you next week. There will be no class because it's Memorial Day weekend. So we will see each other in 2 weeks. Okay. Thank you so much. Love you so much. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Love you.
Bye.